Milk. What are they talking about right now? Probably you and what a dumb piece of trash you are, you fat sack of idiot. Why don't you do the world a favor and swerve into oncoming traffic? No, you don't deserve to die young. Only the greats die young. Oh, now you think you're young all of a sudden. One drink. Whoa, is it night suddenly?
Do you feel sympathetic? On the 22nd of August 2014, Netflix released the first season of Bojack Horseman in its entirety. The television show was immediately praised for its unique approach to an animated comedic show, showing characters with relatable flaws and a storyline which wasn't afraid to pull the heartstrings of its audience. The series blurred the line of its titular character, Bojack Horseman, played by Will Arnett, in a way which was unique to not only animation, but the television as a whole. Raphael Waxberg said, "Was my goal to actively blur the line? Let's say yes, it was my goal. I do think that the world of animation, particularly adult animation, has so much room to explore as far as genre and tone and character. While television presents a lot of anti-heroes, whether it be Dexter, Frank Underwood or Tony Soprano, Bojack Horseman is unique as the character isn't a natural anti-hero, nor is he a protagonist or antagonist. Bojack Horseman's arc, while it can make the audiences at times disdain him and the things he does, can also make the audience feel sympathetic. The critically acclaimed series goes to great lengths to explore his dark past, his issues with mental health, and the Horseman's family legacy. Bojack Horseman isn't simply an animated comedy show, but a deconstruction of celebrity and mental illness.
You're looking at the national face of depression.
You're the national face of depression.
Yep.
One of the ways I would describe his character when I was first pitching my show is he's someone who looks around at a party and simultaneously feels smarter and stupider than everyone there. He thinks he's the best person in the room, but he also thinks he's the worst. Raphael Waxberg, the creator of Bojack Horseman, often talks about the character in both a positive and negative light. He talks about how the character is narcissistic, but also misunderstood, desperate to be happy, but instinctively self-destructive. When analysing his actions, you can see Bojack is selfish and blindsided by its own self-destruction and emptiness. Throughout the 6 seasons of the Netflix original, the audience watches his character transition and change on a trajectory which leads him to commit at best genuine kind acts of human decency and at worst potential crimes.
And now you know me.
An infamous episode which is key in exploring and understanding Bojack Horseman is the critically acclaimed episode Escape from LA. Towards the end of the 2nd season, the titled character runs away from his problems in Hollywood and sees an old friend, Charlotte Moore, played by Olivia Wilde, in a suburban home where she lives with her husband and 2 children. After attempting an affair with Charlotte and ultimately being rejected, Bojack goes to a high school daughter for comfort. The episode suggests Bojack's intentions would lead him to commit statutory rape, and Bojack Horseman is caught moments before anything can happen and he is told to leave. The audience suddenly questions his character, who is seemingly the protagonist of the show, and asks, could he really do this? Waxberg never allows the audience to feel fully comfortable with the titular character, instead leading his character progression through discomfort and harsh grey areas. Moments like this are key in deconstructing Bojack as it presents to us the harsh reality of the character. He is undeniably an antagonist to these characters, a genuine threat to their stability and happiness. But Horseman never allows us to forget these moments, with episodes such as Stupid Piece of Shit, exploring Bojack's inner thoughts and his regrets. We see why he didn't and how he regrets it. But as an audience, it is impossible to condone. We may be able to forgive the character, but the series never allows us to forget, making it impossible for Bojack to become the protagonist of the show.
You're a real stupid piece of shit.
In Nbhd's Anti-Hero in American Television, she discusses how anti-heroes commonly have a core moral code, which allows them to have a certain appeal to audiences. The anti-hero is not amoral, he is loyal towards his own and can thus be seen as following a moral code. Bojack differs to his depiction of anti-hero in many ways, as he frequently betrays those who he regards as close friends throughout the series. Through a flashback sequence, we see Bojack betrays best friend and showrunner of Horsing Around, the show which kickstarted Bojack's career. Bojack betrays Herb and ultimately becomes accessory to producers removing him as a showrunner. The audience also witnesses Bojack sabotage Todd's rock opera in season 1, he then sleeps with Todd's friend Emily in season 3, and in season 1 we witness Bojack kiss Mr. Peanut Butter's fiancée, Diane, after he was told by Herb Kazaz, a man who is now suffering from terminal cancer, they would never forgive him.
Bojack, you want to talk about the time when you, my good friend, kissed my wife? No!
Yes!
Bojack frequently shows he has no loyalty to his friends or family. Continuing the exploration of anti-hero, while a lot of portrayals of anti-hero in American television are those who commit crimes for family, infamously Walter White in Breaking Bad, Tony Soprano's in Sopranos, and Jackson Teller in Sons of Anarchy. In Bojack Horseman, the titular character's only relationship with family are negative. While this evolves throughout the series, with the character of Hollyhock, Bojack's long-lost sister, being introduced in later seasons, the character is portrayed to have no moral code. He has no reason to commit the morally ambiguous anti-hero-esque actions. He does it because he wants to, or as a reaction to a negative event in his life. In the newest season of Bojack Horseman, we explore his relationship with horses and his family. After entering rehab, Bojack Horseman has several discussions with his therapist, a horse named Dr. Champ, where they discuss his deep-rooted hatred for horses because of his extremely poor relationship with his mother and father. A relationship so poor that Bojack discusses it in a stand-up-esque way at his mother's funeral in the episode Churro, an episode where we see the true way Bojack feels about his mother and discusses whether there's a final redemption between them.
We understood each other in a way. Me and my mom and my dad. As screwed up as we all were, we did understand each other. My mother, she knew what it's like to feel your entire life like you're drowning, with the exception of these moments. These very rare, brief instances in which you suddenly remember you can swim.
Bojack Horseman's relationship with Dr. Champ ultimately disintegrates as well, with Horseman inadvertently causing Champ to drink contraband vodka, resulting in him being in rehab. Even as we watch Bojack continue to impact the characters of the story world in a negative way, Waxberg allows us to believe that Bojack is ultimately trying to be good, as he says, I remember everything. I'm sober now. It's no lie to say that as we explore Bojack Horseman throughout the series, he is portrayed to us as a character of negative traits. In Sidefield's screenplay, he explores the nature of character reaction in situations. How we act and react or deal with a particular situation reveals our true nature and tells us who we really are. Events in a screenplay are specifically designed to bring out the truth about a character. In Escape from LA, Bojack Horseman's reaction to being rejected is to find comfort, even if that comfort could come across as malicious, harmful, and morally wrong. Bojack's reaction to his mother's death is minute in comparison. Instead, he is as brutal to her as he was when she was alive, even when standing in a coffin, or at least a coffin he believes was his mother's.
Is this funeral parlor B?
These are extreme points of the show where Bojack Horseman can suddenly come across as an antagonist to not only the characters of the show, but the audience. He is shown to be emotionally disconnected from morality and reality, a concurrent theme running through the show with the episode A Horse Walks into Rehab, showing alcohol to be a literal void in his life. This disconnection leads him to strangle his co-star, allows him to forget the moments in his life he most regrets, and ultimately prevents him from getting better. Where Bojack Horseman becomes unique is its reaction to episodes where Bojack commits the worst of his actions. While other events feel like bubbles, where the characters never fully suffer from these actions, these events are constantly in Bojack's mind, even when the show never directly tells us they are. In Stupid Pieces of Shit, we see Bojack's thought process, and we realise his actions he has committed are still important to the character, and even if we as an audience have forgotten them, the main character has not, for better or for worse. We hear Bojack's inner thoughts, to hear him ruminating about some things you thought maybe had been resolved already, or we hadn't addressed in a while. Oh no, they're still in there, they're in the back of his head and they're still playing. He's still working his way through them, and they kind of always will be in there. The story also doesn't allow us to forget his actions, with the mid-season finale of season 6 showing the audience the impact Bojack's had on his characters. Storylines which ultimately feel self-contained are once again reopened, like an old wound, to remind us that Bojack has left negative impacts on many characters in the story world. With the death of Sarah Lynn in season 2, we realise the reason why she ultimately dies is due to Bojack's own self-destructive instincts. Bojack literally drags Sarah out of rehab and they go on a bender together lasting months in the episode That's Too Much Man. Mental health and alcoholism are key aspects of Bojack Horseman which drive the story. We watch as Bojack deteriorates and gets better, and ultimately towards the end of season 6A, we see Bojack at his best. However, his past demons still haunt him, in both a metaphorical and a very literal sense. He is never a character fully free of redemption, nor is he a character that doesn't necessarily deserve it. We understand the way he is as the show explores his parents' past in the episode Time's Arrow, and his abusive relationship with alcohol in the episode A Horse Walks Through Rehab. The series, while never freeing Bojack of blame, makes some attempts to redeem him, and show him as neither a protagonist, antagonist, nor antihero, but as a person, a horseman.